Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nigamakalpatarurgalitam phalam Shukamukadamrita Samyutam Pivata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मथस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमापोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम् सर्वशास्त्राभिपीयूष सर्ववेदैकसत्फला सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैकदिक्प्रदा सर्वभागवता प्राणा श्रीमद्भागवता प्रभो कलिद्वन्द्वोदित्या श्रीकृष्णा परिवर्तिता परमानन्दपाठाय प्रेमवर्षि अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे मदेकबन्धु मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरु मन्महादना मन्निष्ठारक मद्भाग्या मदानन्दा नमोऽस्तु ते असाधु साधु तादायिन्नति नीचो च ताकरा आनमुञ्च कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्ण हृत्कण्ठयोस्वरा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे त्वं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरे कृष्णा. Welcoming all to this morning session of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So please bless me. I speak the right words in the right mode as a service to the Supreme Lord. So today we are in the 29th chapter. Yes. So the 29th chapter, Canto 3, Status Quo. We are going through this 29th chapter, which is Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila. So we understand that this is the discussion taking place between Devahuti, Mother Devahuti and Lord Kapila. So Mother Devahuti had asked few questions which were answered in that. From the 25th chapter onwards, we see that the various questions were asked and following answers to it. So the first question, what was the first question Mother Devahuti asked was, she tells that explain to me about, get me out of this illusion of aham and mameti, right? Tell me about prakriti and the material nature. This was she asked. Then the second question she asked was, tell me about that bhakti yoga which can be, wherein we can easily get realize the Supreme Lord. Third, she asked that, tell me about that jnana by which we can understand the tattvas. And then the fourth she asked was that, tell me about the yoga which leads to liberation. And then we saw that in the following chapters, 28 chapters about the devotional service, each limbs of devotional service we went through. So now the verses which I'm going to take today, they are the further questions. The 5th, 6th and the 7th questions is what we are going to understand, asked by Mother Devahuti. She asked Lord Kapila that, please tell me more about bhakti. Tell me about the time and tell me about the cycle of birth and death. These are the few questions further asked by Mother Devahuti. So the first two verses are combined, which says, Devahuti Ruvacha Lakshmanan mahadadinam prakrte purushasya cha swarupam lakshate amisham yena tat paramartikam yata sankheshu katitam yanmulam tat prachakshate bhakti yogasya me margam bruhi vistarasha prabhu. Vasudha Mataji, you would like to recite?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. देवहूतिरुवाच लक्षणं महदान् दीनां प्रकृते पुरुषस्य च स्वरूपं लक्ष्यते अमीसां येन तत्पारमार्तिकं यथा संख्येषु कथितं यन्मूलं तत्प्रचक्षते भक्ति योगस्य मे मार्गं ब्रूहि विस्तरस प्रभो. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Somebody else would also like to recite? Meenakshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Deharati uvacha lakshanam mahadadinam prakritehe purushasya cha swarupam lakshyate amisham yena tat paramarthikam yatha sankheshu katitam yanmulam tat prachakshate bhakti yogasya me margam bruhi vistaraksha prabho. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the translation. Sudha Mataji. Shilpa Mataji, anyone of you who is ready can.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Devji inquired, "My dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the synonyms of the total material nature and characteristics of the spirit according to the Sankhya system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical systems." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we see here that Mother Devahuti, further she says that you have told Devahuti Ruvacha, you have told about the Lakshanam, about all the symptoms of Mahat Adinam, about the Mahatattva, about the Prakriti, okay, through Sankhya Yoga. So now tell me about Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yogasya me margam bruhi vistara sha prabhu. Tell me elaborately about the Bhakti Yoga because it is the Yanmulam tat prachakshati. It is the essence of all the philosophy. So tell me more about Bhakti Yoga. So here we see that Mother Devahuti is stressing to tell about more about the devotional service. So let us understand through Prabhupada's purport. So here she said that you have explained to me all the symptoms of the material nature, the characteristics of the spirit according to Sankhya philosophy. Now I request you to explain about the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end, which is the Yat Moolam. That is why she is telling to explain more about it. So that the more and more we hear about it, the more we understand the importance of taking up devotional service, and only devotional service is the way to achieve the lotus feet of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita as well, we saw that how Lord Krishna, he tells about Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga comes in Dhyana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga. And then, and along with that, he tells about devotional service. So why we may think that why we have to know about all this. So it is said that we should know when we come to know about the importance of a particular subject or thing, when it is taught to us in comparison to others. So we understand that how important and how easy is Bhakti Yoga when you compare it with the other yogas. So that is why even in Bhagavad Gita, we see how the Karma Yoga, but then Bhakti Yoga is in between, well protected between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So first we should understand what is the characteristics of the soul, what is the soul, the constitutional position of the soul, and then that is the Sambandha. We should understand the Sambandha. And then understanding the Sambandha, then we have to do the avideya, we have to do the process to achieve the prayojana, that is the love of Godhead. So here in this 29th chapter, it speaks about the glories of devotional service and the influence of time on the conditioned soul. By understanding this, it will help one to detach, that is the conditional soul to detach from this material activity. Otherwise, whatever activity you do, it is just simply waste of time. Shrimad Bhagavatam, it says that na utpadayate yadi yaratim Shrama eva hi kevalam. If it does not arise the love for the God, or all the activities which we do, but if it is not in relation that to achieve the love for the God or dovetailing it with Krishna consciousness, then it is whatever we do, it is just Shrama eva hi kevalam. It is just a waste of time. So it here in Bhakti Yoga, it gives us the eternal relationship between the living entity and the personality of Godhead. It makes us understand. That is why in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, it's Sankhya. It tells us about what a soul is, right? It says that how the soul, it does just transmigrate from one body to the another. When you are a small child, Kaumaram, then you become adult, then you become old, you leave your body, and then it transmigrates to another body. But it is never na hanyati, na hanyamani. That it cannot be killed. Na chindanti, na dahati, na pavakaha. There were so many characteristics that to describe the soul, to understand the divinity, that the soul is also eternal, also Satchitananand. But because of our identifying it with the body, we become conditioned in the three modes of material nature. So to come out of that, you need to understand Bhakti Yoga. So for the benefit of all, Mother Devahuti is asking Kapila Muni that please tell about Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga is the basic principle, yet moolam. It is the essence of all the philosophy. So here they say that all the philosophy, if it does not aim to devotional service, it is merely a mental speculation. And if there is, you do bhakti yoga, but there is no philosophy, then it is just a sentiment that we are doing it. Right? Neither of these can achieve the highest goal of that. If they do, it will take many, many years. Right? So in Bhagavad Gita also it is said, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanamam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarva Itim Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. There are very few after your repeated birth for years, uh, birth after birth, then you come to know that it is Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Sarva Itim. He is the source of everything. And such persons are very rare. It takes time. So the philosophy is that when we understand that Krishna is the root, so then we should water that root. And how to water that root? It is through devotional service. So that is why Devahuti is asking, please tell me about devotional service. It is only by devotional service that we can achieve the love for God. Here we can take the example of Dhruva Maharaj also, right? How Dhruva Maharaj, when he was a small child, 5 to 6-year-old child, what he wanted to sit on his father's lap. But then his stepmother did not allow him. Right? What did she tell him? That you pray to Lord that you should be born in my womb. Then only you can sit on the lap of your father. He cries. He feels very sad. He runs to his mother. The mother also says that, see, even your father does not care about me. He does not give me the respect of that of a maid also. So what she said is correct. You have to approach the Supreme Lord. And thus he goes into the forest in search of the Lord, where he meets. So thus his desire was there. And thus the Lord sends a guru. Narad Muni comes over there. He tells him, yes, you do. You from whatever available, you make a form of the Lord, offer to the Lord, and do the devotional service, and initiated him with a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And this small child, he started doing austerity. Initially, he would take only fruits, then water, dry leaves, then water, air, and then later on, he even stopped breathing, right? And then, pleased by his austerity, the Lord appears. And the Lord, when Lord appears, he did not know, because he was just a 5 to 6-year-old boy. He did not know what to do. The Lord empowers him, gives him the knowledge by touching the shank on his forehead. And he offers the prayer, and the Lord fulfills his desire. He wanted a position more than Lord Brahma, his grandfather. So the Lord, the merciful Lord, gives him his own planet through Dhruva Loka. He fulfills his desire to become the king, to rule the world about 36,000 years, right? And then he had envy to fulfill his desire, to compete, like, to get the highest position. But then later on, he realizes that ruling the world for 36 years, that many years, he was away from the Lord, and he did not get any pleasure. And what he gets ultimately, the satisfaction he gets, it was only through devotional service. After doing so much of penance, austerities, he said that all I did was of waste, only to get this material opulence, which is just temporary. So that is the realization. From that, we should understand that it is only through devotional service that we can get the eternal bliss, the satisfaction. So Vedic literature therefore suggests that there are three elements, namely the Supreme Lord, the living entity, and their eternal relationship. And the goal of life is to follow bhakti, devotional service, and that is, and ultimately attain the planet of the Supreme Lord. So, this is all about this first verse, where it speaks about that why important is devotional service. And thus, Devahuti is asking Kapila Muni to speak about devotional service. So you say that by Sankhya Yoga, you can understand the nature and its characteristic. This is an acquired knowledge. But one should not simply acquire knowledge without reaching the goal of life or the basic principle of acquiring knowledge, Bhakti Yoga. If we give up Bhakti Yoga and are simply busy ourselves in the analytical study of the nature of things as they are, then the result will be practically nil. Right? So this is all about, so there is no, that is why Prabhupada said there is no use of beating the husk if the grain has already been removed. By the scientific study of material nature, living entity and super soul, one has to understand the basic principle of devotional service to the Lord. You do a lot of thesis and this to understand the supremacy of the Lord. But if you do not develop the love for the Lord, then it is Shrama Eva Hi Kevala. So this is the understanding of the first two verses. Then we go on to the third verse. Hare Krishna. Anybody can take up.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Virago yena purusho bhagavan sarvato bhavet achaksva jiva lokasya vividha mama samsritihi. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devahuti continued, my dear Lord, please also describe in detail, both for me and for people in general, the continual process of birth and death, for by hearing of such calamities, we may become detached from the activities of this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So she is telling that Achakshva jiva lokasya vivida mama samshritaha. Samshritaha means the repetition of birth and death. Please tell me and jiva lokasya, all the people in general, about the birth and death, right? The cycle of birth. What are the consequences by being attached to the Maya? If you tell us, then virago. Oh Lord, you please tell us about it by telling us, knowing the evolution, the process of evolution, the various births we have to take, the species of birth we have to take, life after life, that will result in detachment. That is, she's telling, give us the knowledge, right? So like a diabetic patient, if he does not know that what is the consequence of taking sugar, right? Already his body is having so much of sugar within. He is insulin resistance, right? It is the insulin is being resisted. and that is why it is not utilizing the glucose which is there in his body. And again, if he is consuming that, what will happen? It will result in the damage of his various organs, the kidney failure, the eyes, so many, in the heart, everything. So when he understands, then he will be detached from that sugary substance. He will restrict, he will not take. If he does not know the consequences, definitely he will think, chalega. And then he will start. So here, that is why she's telling, please tell me, please tell us, not only me, tell the people in general, what would be the consequences, if we are too much materialistic and being too much materialistic to fulfill our desire, again and again we have to take birth. And it does not guarantee that again we will have a human birth. There are many species of evolution. So we will undergo that. So to detach us from that, please tell us. So here, Samshrita, the Prabhupada explains that Samshrita means going to the deepest, darkest region of life. And Shreya Shriti means that the path which we are taken, where we are going towards the Supreme Lord. Where Samshriti means we are going to the darkest region of life. And what is this darkest region of life? Continuous birth and death. So people who do not have the knowledge of this material world, they enter into the darkest region of material existence. That means they are going into the species of life other than human beings. Even if you're coming back into the life of a human being, okay, we can understand that there are chances of taking up devotional service. But if you are going into another species of life, you lose that opportunity also. So there is a very good song by Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, which says that, if somebody knows this to recite, or is there someone who can take up?
Which one, Mataji?
Yeah, try, Mataji.
Jiva jago. Yes, Mataji, please try, Mataji.
जीव जागो घोर चंद बोले कोटा निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाची रखोले भाजी बोलिया
Yes, Mataji, continue.
संसार गीतारे भूलिया रोहिले तुम्ही अविद्या बारे तुम्हार लोईते आम्ही होईनो अवतार आम्ही बिना बंधु आर के आचे तुम्हारा येनीची औषधी माया नसीबरो लगी हरिनामा महामंत्रलो तुम्ही मागे भक्ति विनोदा प्रभु चरण भरिया ते हरिनाम मंत्र लोइलो मागिया.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So it's a Jeev Jago, Gara Chand Bole, Kota Netra Jao Maya, Pishachi Rakhole, Bajibo Buliya Eshe, Samsara Bitare, Buliya Rohile Tumi, Avidyar Bhare. So here it is said that, oh Lord, Gauranga is calling, wake up, O sleeping soul. What are you doing? You are sleeping in the lap of a witch called Maya. We are all in Maya. And as a result of that, you have forgotten the devotional service. And are lost in this world. We are in this world, in the world of birth and death. Further, he said that Tumara loite ami oinu avatara ami bina bandhu ara ke ache tumara. There is no one other than me who is your friend. That is for your own benefit. I have come into this material world along with the medicine. ಎನಿಚಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಮಾಯಾ ನಶಿ ಬಾರುಲಾಗಿ ಹರಿನಾಮ ಮಹಾ ಮಂತ್ರ lao tumi magi. It says that I descended just to save you. Other than me, myself, you have no friend in this material world. So always remember this verse, that where we get so much attached to this is my friend, this is my world, right? No, it is only the Lord who is the real friend. Why? Because he has got us the medicine to get out of this material world, which is full of miseries. Dukhalayam shashvatam. And what is that mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the process of devotional service that is recommended for this age of Kali. And then further, it says that Bhakati Vinoda Prabhu Charani Pariya Sei Hari Nama Mantra Loi Lo Magiya. That I, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur says, I fall at the lotus feet having taken up this mantra. That is, we have to surrender, we have to take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and that is the only recommended process, rather than keeping ourselves attached to this material world. This is my family, this is, yes, we have to do our duty, our responsibility, but we should not give up devotional service. Whatever duty we do, that has to be dovetailed into Krishna consciousness, because this is what our Guru, the Guru Parampara which we follow, he is saying that he is falling at the lotus feet having taken up this mantra. So we should also take up the same process. So here Devahuti, who is so what called, she's so compassionate, she is telling that please tell us about the various process of the birth and death, by which once we know about its consequence, we will be detached. But there was an interview in which one person had come, so who was involved in various technology for advancement. So Prabhupada says that if you use your technology and whatever modern means to renovate a toilet, the toilet will always remain a toilet. Once we start using it, it gets contaminated. Similarly is this material world. This material world is full of miseries. Always you come into this, you will get contaminated. So get out of this material world, get out of this cycle of birth and death. You have to take up devotional service. So understanding that, we move further. So the fourth verse. Yes, Mataji. Karpagavalli Mataji. I hope everybody is there with me.
Kalaseshwara Rupayasa Rupasyam Paresam Cha Parasayate Sarupam Bhata Kurupanti Yattetu Kusalam Jana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
One more, Chandana Mataji, you can also recite.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
कालेश्येश्वररूपस्य परेषां च परस्यते स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति यद्धेतो कुशलं जनाः. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So now Mother Devahuti asked to explain about time, the influence of time. Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai. Please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of
Pious activities.
Hello?
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
were you able to hear me?
Feeble, Mataji. The last time we couldn't hear.
Okay. Can I repeat?
Yes. Yes.
Translation by Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of pious activities. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Purport?
Shall I read the purport also, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Purport by Shri Prabhupada ki jai. However ignorant one may be regarding the path of good fortune and the path down to the darkest region of ignorance, everyone is aware of the influence of eternal time, which devours all the effects of our material activities. The body is born at a certain time, and immediately the influence of time acts upon it. From the date of the birth of the body, the influence of death is also acting. The advancement of age entails the influence of time on the body. If a man is thirsty or 30 or 20 or 50 years old, then the influence of time has already devoured 30 or 50 years of the duration of his life. Everyone is conscious of the last stage of life when he will meet the cruel hands of the death, but some consider their age and circumstances, concern themselves with the influence of time, and thus engage in pious activities so that in the future they will not be put into a low family or an animal species. Generally, people are attached to sense enjoyment and so aspire for life on the heavenly planets. Therefore, they engage themselves in charitable or other pious activities, but actually, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, one cannot get relief from the chain of birth and death, even if he goes to the highest planet, Brahmaloka, because the influence of time is present everywhere within this material world. In the spiritual world, however, the time factor has no influence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we see that Mother Devhuti is asking the influence of time, because it is said that influence of time is present everywhere within this material world. Even in the creation, right? We saw the time, influence of time. So how was that influence of time on the creation? We all have studied the creation, right? So
The egg, Mataji.
yes, Mataji, try.
So after the living entities, along with their karma and I mean the vasanas, I think the karma and the time factor also goes along with it into the egg, and after a certain period of time, that is when that will be activated.
What will be activated, Mataji?
Maybe the modes of material nature will be activated, Mataji. Till then,
Yeah.
it is all it is like lifeless.
So we saw that Pradhana, from Pradhana comes the Mahatattva, right? And into the Mahatattva were the glance of the Lord impregnate. So in that glance comes in the Jiva, the Karma, and the Kala, right? Till then, the Mahatattva is not active. It is just a what you call dead material, you can say. There is nothing. It cannot do anything on its own. Right? For it to be alive, to do something, the glance of the Lord, which carries along with it Kala, Karma, and Jiva. So here, where is the God, Lord? The Supreme Lord's factor is what? Kala, Karma, and Jiva. So which is the Lord's factor?
Kala, Mataji.
Kala, Mataji.
Yeah. So the Lord in the impersonal, for anything, for it to be active, it requires the Supreme Lord's factor should be there. Otherwise, like a woman alone cannot have a child, right? She has to have union with her husband. Then she can produce a child. Similarly, the material with all the elements, the Mahatattva, with the Mahatattva, it cannot do anything. So it is impregnated by the Kala factor, the time, the impersonal. That is why the Lord says, right? Aham Bija Pradapita. He is the seed giving father. How? This is how the Lord, through the time factor, it impregnates into the Mahatattva, and then it activates. There is agitation. So we see that this time factor, Mother Devahuti wants us to understand what is this time factor and how it is going to affect us. Only when we know the consequences, as I told before, we will get. All this is told to us to detach ourselves from the material attachment. We should not waste our time engaging in sense gratification, because all that will lead to our downfall. We will be pushed into the darkest region of life. So what is the darkest region?
Hell, Mataji.
Cycle of birth and death.
Ignorance.
Last verse only we understood.
Hell, Mataji, wherein repeated birth and death, all that takes place, Mataji.
What? Yeah, the hell. What was explained in the hell means what?
Lower species of animals, Mataji.
Other than
Give
the
me
human
1 minute,
species.
Mataji. Give me 1 second. This one important call. Just 1 second. Sorry, Mataji. Yeah. So yes, Mataji. See here I'll just go to the purport where Prabhupada says that it is going into the lower species of
Mataji, people who does not know the knowledge of the material world itself, Mataji. That is the
Yeah.
darkest region.
Darkest region is we are falling into the lower species of life. Right? This is what Prabhupada says in the earlier verse. Right? So we understand that how the influence of time will lead us. Its effect, if we do not use it in a proper way, it will result in our downfall. So here it is. Can somebody read this from here? The body at a certain time.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I?
Yeah. Yes.
The body is born at a certain time, and immediately the influence of time acts upon it. From the date of birth of the body, the influence of death is also acting. The advancement of age entails the influence of time on the body. If a man is 30 or 40 years old, then the influence of time has already devoured 30 or 40 years of the duration of his life. Everyone is conscious of the last stage of life, when he will meet the cruel hands of death. But some consider their age and circumstances, concern themselves with the influence of time, and thus engage in pious activities, so that in the future they will not be put into low family or an animal species. Generally, people are attached to sense enjoyment and so aspire for life on the heavenly planets.
Yes,
Therefore,
yes, Mataji. 1 minute. See here. The influence of time, and thus engage in pious, so that in future they will not be put into the family or the animals below family or the animal species. This is what we have to understand, that we have to take the time factor, and then we have to engage ourselves in the devotional service. Generally, people who are attached to sense enjoyment and aspire for life or heaven, you do pious activity, that is good, but then what the result is that you will go to heavenly planet, and after some time, after you enjoy in the heavenly planet your duration, like you're taking a vacation, going to some country, after you can stay there till your validity of the visa. Once the visa expires, you have to come down. Similarly, you're going to the heavenly planet. Once you finish, the visa expires, you have to come down. So further it says that it is not that in heavenly planet you feel that there is no influence of time. There is influence of time. Therefore, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, one cannot get relief from chain of birth and death, even if he goes to the highest planet. Which is this verse?
Brahma Bhuvana Loka.
Brahma Bhuvana Loke. Yes, Mataji.
Punaravarti Norjana.
Mam
Upetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanma. Yes. So, if you take the shelter of the Lord, then there is no coming back. Otherwise, even if you go to the Brahma, the highest planet, even if you go to the Brahma Loka, even Brahma has got a lifespan. You have to come back to this material world. So you should understand the influence of time. So based on, Mother Devahuti, she says that please explain to us about the time factor as well. Now after that, now she is glorifying Lord Kapila. That is what is in this 5th verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, one small
Yes,
interruption,
Prabhuji.
sorry. Mataji, my question is, after the influence of the time, the Jivatma will act upon that, we will take birth. Am I right?
I didn't get, Prabhuji, your question.
After the by the time of means at the influence of time,
then it is devastation, no, Prabhuji.
Yes,
annihilation.
Yes, yes. We will take birth in the influence of the spiritual Supreme Lords, is it not? We will get birth. Please,
Sorry,
Suma
Mataji.
Mataji, you please tell.
Krishna, I don't know what I got is Mataji, what Prabhu is telling is that initially you said no, Mataji, like the Pradhana, how it is getting agitated by the entrance of the, I mean, by the time. So just like that, he's asking Mataji.
Just
Prabhu,
like that, what? Just like that, what, Mataji?
Prabhu, heli Prabhu.
ಅವರು ನಾವೀಗ ಈ ಭಗವಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಆಮೇಲೆ ಭಗವಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೀಡ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಫಾದರ್ ಅಂತ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೌದಾ? ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆದ್ವಿ, ನಾವು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಬರ್ತ್. ನಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಮುಂದುವರಿತದೆ. ಈ ಡೆತ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ವಾ? ಅರ್ಥವಾಯ್ತಾ?
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ.
Prabhuji is asking Mataji, like when how we were all in the, I mean, what to say, Mataji, frozen state, no, Mataji. Only when the time factor comes, we get because of that agitation, and then we take up the living, as living entities, we will be born. So Prabhu is asking, and we become active. So in the same way, how we being the living entities, how does we does not come to know, like when is our death and everything, Mataji? That is what Prabhu is asking. Sarina Prabhu?
How we will know that?
Yes, Mataji. That is the.
See, that is what Prabhuji in this verse it is telling that with time, the influence of time, the body is born at and immediately from the date of the birth, the day you are born, the influence of time, that is the death is acting upon you. The advantage of the age entails and the influence of time. You will know the influence of time, how your body changes. Earlier you were born, you were there for some time, you do some act, then you become a child, then a youth, then an adult, then you are. So that is all tells us about, and as you grow older, the limitations you understand, right? So if everyone in the conscious is conscious at the last stage of life when he meets the cruel hands of death. So, but some consider this age and circumstance concern themselves with the influence of time and thus engage in the pious activity. There are some people earlier they don't do, but then as they age, they understand the influence of time and their limitation, and then they take up the devotional service.
Mataji, I do agree. I accepted this. So is it not possible for us to know when the death will come?
How it is possible to know, Prabhuji? Death is there at every moment.
At any moment.
It can come at every moment.
Okay. So that is my
question.
What
it is written here, right? From the date of your birth, the influence of death is acting on us.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji, I got the idea. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhu. Definitely it is. No.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, this is how this platform is there to help each other, and we understand through you. I also understand. Okay. Now the 5th verse. Sharmila Mataji.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Lokasya mitya bimatera chakshusha chiram prasuptasya tamasi anashraye shrantasya karmasu anuviddayadiya tvam avirasi kila yoga bhaskaraha.
Translation.
Translation by
anybody else is there, Mataji, who should not be? Archana Mataji is there, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, you are just like the sun, for you illuminate the darkness of the conditional life of the living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not open, they are sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter. Therefore, they are falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So they appear fatigued. So here it is said that that you please enlighten us. Okay, enlighten us with your yoga bhaskara. Just like how the sun illuminates the darkness, thus by the knowledge you please enlighten us. Right? There is one verse which says that in Bhagavad Gita, which says that through the knowledge it enlightens us. The Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita.
तेषां
ततयुक्तानां
तेषाम्
एवानुकम्पार्थं
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थं
तमः अशयां आत्मभावस्तु ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वति.
Yes, Mataji. Purport, Suma Mataji, you can.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. It appears that Srimati Devahuti, the glorious mother of Lord Kapila Deva, is very compassionate for the regrettable condition of people in general, who, not knowing the goal of life, are sleeping in the darkness of illusion. It is the general feeling of the Vaishnava or devotee of the Lord that he should awaken them. Similarly, Devahuti is requesting her glorious son to illuminate the lives of the conditioned soul so that their most regrettable conditional life may be ended. The Lord is described herein as Yoga Bhaskara, the son of the system of all yoga. Devahuti has already requested her glorious son to describe Bhakti Yoga, and the Lord has described Bhakti Yoga as the ultimate yoga system. Bhakti Yoga is the sun-like illumination for delivering the conditioned souls, whose general condition is described here. They have no eyes to see their own interest. They do not know that the goal of life is not to increase the material necessities of existence, because the body will not exist more than a few years. The living beings are eternal, and they have their eternal need. If one engages only in caring for their necessities of the body, not caring for the eternal necessities of life, then he is part of a civilization whose advancement puts the living entities in the darkest region of ignorance. Sleeping in that darkest region, one does not get any refreshment, but rather gradually becomes fatigued. He invents many processes to adjust the fatigued condition, but he fails and thus remains confused. The only path for mitigating his fatigue in the struggle for existence is the path of devotional service or the path of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mata.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, there is a verse no in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says that Bharatat Bhumite Hoile Manushya Janmayar Janma Sartaka Kari Karo Para Upakar. So how can you do that Para Upakar? How is that Paropkar?
By giving the knowledge of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, by giving the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So here it is that Srimati Devahuti, she is very compassionate for the regrettable condition of the people who do not know the goal of the Lord. So this is the feel. Every Vaishnava would have a general feeling that they should awaken that love which is dormant within. So it is said that if you are Bharata Bhumite Hoile Manushya Janmayar, it is their duty to awaken. So whatever little knowledge, it is not that, no, but this knowledge is very vast and inconceivable. But whatever knowledge we have, we should tell it to others in some way or the other. It becomes our moral responsibility. There are many people who does NGOs, who takes care of the orphans, the old age. Yeah, that is all pious activity, but that does not improve their condition. If we really want, if we are so compassionate, if we really want them to progress or make the condition better, the best thing is to make them Krishna consciousness, give them the science of Krishna consciousness, or engage them in devotional service. Some may not understand the science, but engage them in the process of devotional service. By that, you can improve their condition. Maybe not in this life, but definitely the other life. So she is requesting her son because she knows that the Supreme Lord himself has come to her as her son. So he can eliminate the lives of the conditions. So who are always in this material world, who are thinking about how to improve their conditions, but improving their conditions will not actually improve our lives. We will be entangled in this, as we see here in many houses. I have seen that especially here in the Gulf country, that when the children clears the 12th grade and all, they, before that itself, the parents, they get some pet animals, either a dog or a cat, because after 10 12, most of them go back to their home country for further studies, and then they don't have anything to do. Where will they express their love, their affection, which a human, which is there inbuilt within, but they still, they don't want to take devotional service. So we can understand that how much that the proclivity that we have, to love someone, to serve someone, is still there, but the method we use is wrong, wherein they get in pet animals. So we see that how unfortunate it is. So we should understand that it is only and only bhakti yoga. But then those who are in this process of devotional service, they are always busy. They know that, yes, after they go also, we are engaged. We have we have a life beyond that also. So bhakti yoga, it is compared here to the sunshine, because there is darkness. There is always ignorance. We are always in ignorance. So to come out of this ignorance, it is the bhakti yoga, which is just like a sun illuminating our life. So the only process to mitigate from this fatigue and the struggle of existence is the path of devotional service, or the path of Krishna consciousness. So we should always be grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us this path, by which we are always engaged in one way or the other, not a single minute. We have various activities. Today we have Amala Bhakti Prabhu from Mayapur, who is coming down to give lecture. The next day we have Rath Yatra, in small way, not in a big way because of restriction, but because we are into this Krishna consciousness, we are engaged in devotional service. So with that, just a small summary. We see that after hearing about Sankhya in the 26th and the 26th and 27th chapter, then about the yoga in the 28th chapter, Mother Devahuti, again she desires about bhakti and the different types. This chapter furthermore is really very good chapter. Please attend it. And how to perform those process. In this 29th chapter, she is asking about, Kapila Muni describes about bhakti affected by gunas, then about pure bhakti and giving respect to all living beings and the power of time. So today we completed the first 5 verses, in which she is asking about the 5th, 6th and the 7th question. That is, first tell me about the details of bhakti, which is the root cause of the knowledge of Sankhya and the ultimate end of all the philosophy, right? We understood that religion without philosophy is just a sentiment, and philosophy without religion is mental speculation. This we have read it in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita as well, in the purport Prabhupada has described. So then the nature of time and its effect, and then about the continuous process of birth and death. And in the 5th verse, she is glorifying Kapila, that you are the Yoga Bhaskara. It is only by taking your shelter that we can come out of this ignorance, because you are the light, you are the knowledge. Right? It will delude us from our false ego. We are blinded, sleeping in darkness and without shelter, fatigue due to material attachment. To come out of all this, we have to take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, because he is, and here he is compared to as Yoga Bhaskara. With that, I end the first 5 verses. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji, can you please give me the reference of the sloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which you said just now? Bharata
Bhumi te hoile. Yes, Mataji, I will put it in the group, Mataji. This is a very common. I'll put it in the group.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare.
Any other questions? If no, then we'll end the session.
Because the verses were only questions, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. Hari bol.
Hare Bol, Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anantakoti Vaishnaveshwari
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sorry, someone was asking something?
No, Mataji, that reference Mataji asked, no? That 9.41.
Here it is. Adi Leela, yeah.
Yeah, Sharmila Mataji has given it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hari bol.
Mataji. Pranas. Thank you.
Pranas.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. to
End
all
the session,
devotees.
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah.
Pranam.
Hare